Announced in November 2023 and released on June 2024, DC changed the industry of comics by adding a new line for their graphic novels called compact comics and grew their sales in a so-called digital world and rekindled their sales physically. And this new move allowed me to start reading comics for the first time because I do have my own little collection of compact comics, and the more titles they push out, the more I will buy because these compact comics are extremely good. Compact comics are 5.5 by 8.5, similar to how manga is, which helps with the convenience factor. The trade paperback is good quality for 10 bucks or 13 Canadian dollars and matches the price of standard manga. This is such a pro for me as I do love manga, and for me to dive into graphic novels with the same format helps me out a lot. I think it was a genius move for DC to examine how an industry close to them are selling their books and the format that they use and trying to replicate it, which they did. And I think what DC has over a standard manga is the colored pages, and most comics are longer than your standard 200-page manga volume. This new format DC has been pumping out collects all different stories and pulls from specific issues and series and puts them into a compact size graphic novel that is easy to carry around and put on your shelf instead of a comic box. As someone who is new to comics, compacts makes reading and getting into a series much easier. Instead of collecting single issues or multiple paperbacks for a series, DC Compact just bundles it up for us and allows us to read these stories flawlessly. See, these DC comics were a huge success. In 2024, 4 compact comics were in the top 10 best-selling graphic novels and performed really well when they came out. Batman Court of the Owls was ranked 4th, All-Star Superman 5th, Batman Hush was 6th, and finally Watchmen at 7th. And in May 2025, Kingdom Come debuted at number 2 and became a wild success for its re-release in this format. And with the new Superman movie, DC Compact sales jumped even more dramatically, and they know sales will only get bigger and bigger once fans start to watch and engage with James Gunn's new DCU movies and shows over the years. People will start to be interested in their other products, and more specifically, I'm talking about comics. And I think that the pricing also is really amazing, and it changed the comic industry that allowed popular stories to become more available to everybody. The pricing allows new fans to dig deep into a world where they're just getting started, and DC chose certain comic stories that would be a great introduction to new fans who want to get into comics. DC has gained a lot of traction because of this. It even has me sitting down in my bed for hours just reading comics. Not to mention, it's significantly cheaper than any other edition. An example of this is Batman A Long Halloween. Its other deluxe edition is around $25 or more, depending on your location and if it's on sale or not. Though the compact comic that is said to be releasing very soon will only cost around 10 to 13 bucks depending on where you live in the world. This is amazing for people who don't want to invest that much money into something that they're just picking up, but rather allowing them to sink their teeth into a story where it's cheap and easy to read on the go. I mean, just for a couple dollars, you can read 400 pages of colored comics of Watchmen. This is really cheap considering the series is high quality. DC also put on top of their books a certain genre, so when new fans are searching on what stories to read next, they can simply just look at the top and see what the book is offering, even before reading the synopsis. Some of the genres that DC puts is fantasy, thriller, mystery, and many more. And this is one of the smartest things DC has done with their comics in years. Not just labeling, but formatting and the pricing. I really do love the stories they're releasing under this new print size. They're releasing their best of the best stories in this format because they know how high quality the stories are, and pairing that with the new format for a new audience, it's genius. And this isn't just for new fans. This is also for longtime readers who have found an appeal to this new format and design. This comic format also does wonders for casual readers who aren't looking to buy a bunch of single volumes or dozens of comic issues that they don't know where to put in their household. Rather, they can just pick up a compact comic from their local store or online and pick it up from time to time. And to go back to the manga point I made earlier on in this video, it's not just me who thinks this way. Many people from North America and Europe who have already been introduced to manga and love that category, DC just so happens to now meet them in that same bubble with superhero and villain stories. The similar formatting helps manga readers pick up DC compacts very quickly and does it well. And what made it difficult for me to get into comics in the first place and chose manga instead is that I thought there was too much of a selection for a limited amount of people that I actually love to read about. But with compacts, they help redefine a story where it allows readers to pick up a manga-sized comic and hop into a story without needing to know much about the characters. The compact comic Batman Hush is a great example of this. Throughout Bruce Wayne's ups and downs in this comic, he does have blue text where he does go over his relationships with others and overall just gives us context about who he likes, who he dislikes, and his friendship and relationships with those around him. So you basically don't feel the need to pick up anything beforehand right before jumping into a compact comic because it's just a fresh start in general. I like the manga-sized version of these comics. It seems long overdue as I feel overwhelmed at the rectangle-shaped thin paper. I have no hatred towards them, but when I started to try to get to collect and read comics physically, I wanted something that I was used to reading, and I feel that compacts fit directly with reading manga. I'm enjoying my comics right now. I finished All-Star Superman and I can make a whole other video on that series. But in order to make this video not that lengthy, all I gotta say is it's amazing. I'm also halfway done Batman Hush and it's one of the best Batman stories I've read, even though I read a limited amount. Reading these sort of DC one-shots makes me want to buy other comics as well from DC, and that's another reason why DC had started pumping out these smaller format comics. It's to get you invested first so you can start collecting other new series. See, these comics are also meant to be a gateway to other comics they produce in the future. Someone who has just seen the Superman movie, for example, might want to pick up Superman Birthright or All-Star Superman, then all of a sudden pick up a Superman Omnibus comic. You see what I'm getting at? It's like a tasting platter. DC just spoon feeds you with these compacts in hopes that you will enjoy other series they pump out, not just in compact form, but actually dive into their other classics that they have. It surely works for me. I'm reading Batman Hush, and I actually like this series so much that I want to buy Batman Year One by Frank Miller. And that comic isn't in compact form, but I just want to branch out and read other Batman comics. Not to mention the collectibility factors that these comics have. Their spine is thick and looks amazing on shelves, something that comics that aren't omnibuses struggle with for a while. I also like how the simple black looks on my bookshelf. It doesn't pop out that much to the point where it hurts the eyes, but rather it's simple and makes it look very subtly fantastic, especially the Watchman spine and cover. The yellow with the black just looks amazing, and I find that both colors complement each other very well. This shift in a generic comic style makes me believe that DC made an incredible move that is so long overdue, and to be honest, it works more effectively now than ever. I find it hard to believe that people who want to get into comics will buy a bunch of single issues off the bat and somewhat get overwhelmed, but now they don't need to. Compacts are the best thing DC has done, and it has changed the way we read and buy comics, and I'm a living example of that. I love to read comics now as much as I love to read manga. I have Watchmen and Kingdom Come still to read, but from what I heard, they're pretty good and solid. Compact comics have changed my mind on how I view these things. They're not just a bunch of text on floppy paper. Comics are awesome and just as amazing as everyone has painted them out to be. The art and writing is exceptional, and I'm glad that compact comics were my first introduction to comics in general. The dialogue is more heavier than manga at times, but I find it to be more engaging when reading. It may seem like there's a lot on one page for these compacts because of the smaller format, but what I got to say is you're not just flipping through pages in seconds, you're actually reading and looking at the amazing art alongside the coloring and shading. DC compact comics are truly one of the best things I've read, and I made this video to encapsulate that. Please comment down below your reading experience with these compacts or comics in general, and I will gladly respond. And if you want to talk to me more in depth and others in this community even more, join the Discord down below, and I will gladly talk to y'all over there. Also, please consider subscribing as it would mean a lot to do this full time. Thank you all for watching, and goodbye for now.